Hi everyone, it's Trine. So this video is if you have your natal Mars trining Neptune. Neptune is the planet that rules Pisces, and it's very idealistic, altruistic, spiritual, and Mars is the god of war. But in astrology, it represents action. And how do we take action? Well, we look at what sign it's in and we look at what kind of aspects it makes. So when it makes a trine to Neptune, this is the trine is the most harmonious angle. So you're joining forces in a very positive way. However, because of the nature of Neptune and what it can entail, even when you have a trine or a sextile or a conjunction, which is not supposed to be like overtly negative or anything like that, but it depends on what planets are involved. And so Neptune being involved with this trine can still produce certain traits that we would associate with the shadow side of Neptune, a big one being gullible. So having that tendency to getting the wool pulled over, who takes advantage of your kindness, for instance. Because when there is a trine between Mars and Neptune, you're going to be the kind of person who doesn't just do things in a self-serving way. You're going to be the kind of person who is taking into account if something is good for humanity. This can definitely be an aspect of an artist, and I would even say like a dancer, because Mars can be physicality and Neptune is creativity and inspiration. But any type of artist, because that's what motivates you. That's another thing besides action that I would say is motivation. What motivates you to act? And it could be this creative urge. And, you're coming from this perspective that is spiritual, and therefore it is psychic, intuitive, and so you may take inspired actions based upon what you feel into and feel what is right to do, rather than, kind of like the intellect or the rational approach. It's like you're making decisions from an internal guidance system. And you could be also wanting to do things that have some sort of altruistic purpose. So if you know that you're going to be helping others in whatever it is that you're doing, that can be a motivating factor. So it has been characterized as service to others versus service to self, which is more of that kind of selfish, what's in it for me mentality. So let's look at some of the things that can occur that are a bit challenging, even with this trine. One of them is what is also true if you have your Mars in Pisces, because this trine can kind of like resemble somebody who has Mars in Pisces, because, like I said, Neptune rules Pisces. And so it can be difficult for you to be assertive. You might kind of go around conflicts rather than meet them head on. And because of that, another thing too is like Mars can be anger. So it might be difficult for somebody with this trine to express anger in a very direct sort of way. Now, obviously, some people might say, oh, you want people to scream and yell. And no, absolutely not. It's very possible to express anger just in the tone of voice that I'm using right now in a matter of fact way without having much aggression whatsoever. But because of the nature of Neptune and that idealism and, that compassion for others, that can make the person reticent and tending to be passive aggressive, because remember that everybody gets angry and you don't just instantly forget or stop being angry simply because you have this particular aspect. It's more like a reluctance to be open with whatever's going on in a straight way and being indirect, and that won't get you where you want to be. That won't get your needs met. So that's something to consider. Another one is that Mars can be your ambition, your goals. And because of the nature of Neptune, there can be some muddled thinking, or kind of like if you look at the symbol of Mars, it's kind of like it looks like the arrow and the target. And when you have an arrow that you're shooting this arrow, you have to have a target and you have to have a game plan. And Neptune, is so creative and so able to kind of, I was going to say like zone out, but it's really, sometimes people would say like daydreaming and all of that, being very dreamy, that it can, being concrete can be very difficult because Neptune is not grounded like a planet like Saturn is, and it's really interesting as I'm recording this that Neptune and Saturn are in the same sign forming a conjunction because they are so, so different. But when you combine the ability, even with Mars, to have that drive and to have that sense of desire to do something, and then having the idealism of Neptune, that can actually be quite good, especially with this harmonious angle. But you have to get clear on your goals, your vision for yourself, because Mars wants to take that action. And if it's kind of half-baked, you could be spinning your wheels, doing things and not seeing the results. Another thing, Mars can be energetic levels, and Neptune, I think because Neptune is connected with emotions and the vibrations or whatever, which you might be very good at sensing, that there might be times when you feel like you're rearing to go, and then sometimes you might not be feeling that way at all. And so the consistency may be lacking. So it's not to say that that means that it's going to deter you, but you have to kind of allow for that because there may be fluctuations in that department. Okay, that's what I have for you. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.